Welcome back. I'm Ash.
I'm Mel.
We are Lobby Cosplay.
And this is Shit Cosplayers Say, the last episode of Season 1. This may actually be coming as a surprise to everyone, as we actually never, in our entire time doing this podcast, mentioned doing seasons or going on a hiatus. However, COVID hasn't ended in the United States. It is actually now worse than it was in March of 2020 in our area.
Yes.
Which is causing a pretty drastic disruption to both of our lives and has obviously caused a massive disruption to the cosplay community. We were definitely going to take a break between Thanksgiving and New Year's anyway because Ash just disappears off the face of the earth.
I do. It happens.
Ash has so many holiday commitments that typically she disappears literally off of the face of the earth, and I don't hear from her from Thanksgiving till typically after New Year's. So we were going to do that anyway.
Now I'm disappearing off the face of the earth from everybody.
Right. I mean, it's changed
because we're
now.
not doing Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Except the difference is I can get a hold of you by, like, the phone when normally, like, you literally disappear and I cannot get a hold of you.
I know.
It's
like, what is this?
You probably have never realized how much you disappear during that time period, but it's really hysterical. I always tell my partner, like, I'm not going to hear from Ash for the next, like, 5 weeks. Because she disappears off the face of the earth between
there's no
this time
spoons.
and this time. Because
there's no spoons to check messages.
No, because you have so many family events that you're gone. I'm just like, I'm not going to talk to her for like 4 weeks because she's gone off the face of the earth into holiday land.
Poof. I know.
But now you're just going to be stuck at your house.
Yes, I will be a hermit.
And I still can't see you because my facility is still open and is not really considering closing anytime in the near future, even though my area is past 26% positivity rate.
Well, you know, it's a great time right now.
It's more likely what we're going to end up doing is a 2-week back and forth, which is also why we're putting the podcast on hold for a little while. I am in charge of all the editing. And if we are going to be going back and forth from providing in-person therapeutic services to telehealth therapeutic services, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the editing to get the episodes out on time. Because my life is going to be in shambles trying to readjust between those two service models while trying to still keep up with everything. And there's just... life balance is important.
You're going to have to rearrange your silverware drawer for your spoons.
Yes, because they're not going to fit, because I'm not even going to know how to clean spoons to put more in my drawer, because I'll have finally gotten used to one format, and then we're going to flip and go to the other one again. And then we'll finally start to get used to it, and then we'll flip and go to the other one again.
Maybe you need sporks.
Which...
or disposables.
Disposable spoons. Can I just buy more spoons? I don't have time to clean them. Which I'm sure you're all thinking, wow, that doesn't sound great for your clients. Yeah, no shit. So it's not great for us. It's definitely not great for my clients, but it is the land we live in right now.
I was just watching The Avengers, so when you said that, I was thinking of when Samuel L. Jackson looks at Cap and he's like, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
What we wanted to make sure didn't happen was that we were sacrificing quality to just get things out.
Nobody wants that. I mean, some of you might just like hearing our voices, I guess, but...
Well, then you can re-listen to your favorite episodes and continue to hear our voices talk about random shit.
Weird.
There's what, 32 episodes, counting this one that currently exists, plus multiple bonus episodes, plus things that we have on both our YouTube and our Twitch. So if you are dying desperately to hear our voices, you do have other options while we are not releasing new episodes.
Yep.
But we were starting to feel like, because of everything that's going on in our lives, because I'm sure your job is not necessarily free of stress either right now.
No.
And other life things that we have going on at this time in both our lives. We were definitely worried we were going to start sacrificing quality for quantity.
And we don't want to do that to you guys because you deserve better.
Exactly. We are, as of right now, planning on staying out from now until probably the end of February.
Yeah, that's our current goal.
That may get extended depending on what's going on with the pandemic and our lives and our jobs and things of that nature, but that is our plan. So basically, around like what would have been C2E2 time last year, we should be releasing season 2. This hiatus is also going to allow us to make sure that season 2 is high quality, because we are going to be working on recording episodes and planning episodes for season 2 while we are on our hiatus, so that we can get ahead on our episodes and not have to record a week before they're due.
Weird.
Elle doesn't like that.
What is this planning in advance you speak of?
Although, frankly, now that you have a new microphone, it takes me a lot less time to edit.
Yes. So for those of you that didn't notice, I got a new microphone because my old one took a shit. It was less than a year old, and it was very sad.
Yeah, so all these weird sounds that I had been editing out for like 5 or 6 episodes was all due to something internal going wrong with the Yeti that Ash had that we had no idea about until it completely just stopped working.
Yep. And then I got a new mic because it took forever to get my new one under warranty. And we're like, wow, that's so much different.
So you now have a 2100X? Is that what it is?
It's an Audio Technica, is what the label says. And it's nifty because I can do either the USB or the traditional port.
Season 2. And our plans for season 2. Obviously, we're going to be working ahead.
Yep, we're going to finally have all that time to do the research that we promised you on some of our higher researched episodes.
Yes, so we're hoping to bring you things like convention true crime and stories of old conventions, and we might even bring up the infamous chair.
Only at IKEA?
Only at IKEA. But yes, we're hoping to bring you some more broader episodes that do require a little bit more research, as well as continuing with some detailed episodes regarding judging and performing, including more in-depth knowledge on recording equipment for performances, as well as some other crafting knowledge and different areas of that nature as well.
Yeah, we're going to talk to some new guests and have some of our friends back on the show, like the Conventional Podcast, Wigwig, psychology professors, and all-around geeks that you may have seen in some of these online cons that have been popping up.
We're very excited to have Professor Eric and Professor Scott, as I like to call them, come and hang out with us. They are very knowledgeable psychology professors, and we're hoping to discuss some different social and psychological aspects of cosplay, such as things like imposter syndrome or why people cosplay in general. So we are definitely looking forward to having them back. The Conventional Podcast is going to join us for, I'm sure, what will be a crazy good time. Because that's all you get when you work with them. That's how that rolls. It's going to be a crazy good time. And Wigwig will be bringing back their expertise in regarding to judging and other shenanigans.
So hopefully we'll also have some more listener stories from all of you.
Obviously, we get that those have died down due to the pandemic, and we don't really get a whole lot of submissions anymore. And we understand that. But if you've got anything that you'd like to share with us, anything at all, you can shoot us an email either at lavicosplay@gmail.com or podcastscs@gmail.com, or you can DM us at any of our social media accounts, and we will be more than happy to save your story for a future episode. We miss hearing your stories. Please send us, even if you're like, this sounds absolutely ridiculous, like we want it more than. Please share with us your silly things that you have been doing, because we miss all of you.
Yes, we miss seeing you all in person.
One of the other big changes we're going to make for season 2 is we are going to switch to an every other week schedule.
Yes, because Elle needs a break.
I need a break. And to be fair, most podcasts that post on an every week schedule have a staff. you know, your big dogs that you listen to, like you're in That's Why We Drink and Wine and Crime and, you know, The Adventure Zone and
Hello from Magic Tavern.
Hello from Magic Tavern, Critical Role. They have people who edit for them. They have people who do all the recording stuff for them. Their responsibility is to record. We do the whole production ourselves. This isn't our full-time job, as we've said like 500 times, I feel like. And we need to make sure that we are producing the podcast with life balance in mind. So we will be switching to an every other week schedule so that I don't pull my hair out trying to edit episodes.
And that's not to say that you won't get some bonus episodes here and there, either during the every other week schedule or during this hiatus that we have planned currently over the holiday season.
Yes, definitely make sure you are subscribing because we may be releasing bonus episodes here and there. The every other week schedule is also so that I can get back to crafting because I was starting to find that I wasn't getting any crafting done because all my extra time was being spent producing the podcast. And that doesn't work when you are a team of 2.
No.
It's like the opposite problem that we used to have before where like you had to do everything and then I was only getting a few things done because I hadn't learned enough yet. And now it's like the balance is off in another way because my half is not getting done because I'm doing the podcast.
Too many spoons in different baskets.
Yes, so we are trying to balance it out a little bit and so that I can keep producing crafting and Ash can keep producing crafting content as well. So that hopefully at some point we can go back to competing at conventions.
Right.
Someday.
Or, you know, Spain.
It might be 2022 at this point, but, you know.
Sure.
It's fine. We are still looking at some of the business side of the podcast as well. I know we've had requests for t-shirts and merchandise. So depending on what we get worked out on the business end, because there's actually a lot of paperwork that goes into all of these processes.
Yes, which can be difficult when all of the offices are closed because your country's in a pandemic.
Yes, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything exactly the way that we need to. So before we add anything to our already current business arrangements, we want to make sure that we're doing it correctly so that it benefits both us and protects us, as well as benefits all of you. But we know that Teespring has been a request, and that would be one of the things that we would be looking at in 2021 so that you can get the merch that you crave from us without needing to see us at a convention. We will continue to reevaluate whether or not we want a Patreon. People have asked us on and off whether or not we want to do Patreon, and my thing with Patreon is it's actually a lot of work.
Well, because you don't want to have either like A tier or a bunch of different level tiers and not have the quality content to put into it. So just like we don't want to provide lackluster content for you who are listening, hopefully you're subscribed, but if you're not, who tune into us on a regular basis to listen, we don't want to have a Patreon that's just sitting there and we're not giving the quality content to our patrons at the same time. We want to make sure that it's going to be worth it as far as content and rewards if that's something we were to open up.
Talked about Patreon for a while now, and if we did do it, we would probably do the 1-tier model where you do like $5 because I don't want to deal with all these different kinds of rewards. No, you gave me money, you get the thing. Because I don't want the complication of the multiple tiers process.
Well, my understanding is you can always choose to give more if you would like to.
Yes.
But the 1 tier is the bare minimum requirement. But if it's something you're interested in, feel free to let us know. Like Elle said, you can reach us at lobbycosplay or podcastscs@gmail.com or DM us on social media.
We have talked about doing some things like extra episodes as well as test this episodes where we actually test some of the crazy shit that people have tried to do with cosplay materials in a safe fashion.
Right.
So, nothing that's going to turn into like, deadly gas or something. But,
yeah, let's not do that.
Maybe we would try to dye some white wool black or whatever and see what happens. But we need to be able to, 1, see each other again.
What's this?
And 2, have more consistent work schedules to be able to produce things like that.
It's still really weird for me to think about the fact that since this whole pandemic thing started, I've only seen you in person like 3 times.
I know, it's weird. I think because really my only other option would be when my facility shuts down for 2 weeks for the holidays, then I can actually get tested and quarantine, and then maybe by like the weekend before I would go back, I could make a visit with a mask on.
Aww.
Because I would be safe.
That would be fun.
I would probably do that. That was my plan. I'm telling you now, I didn't tell you before.
It's a good plan.
But yes, I don't plan on... So normally I work at an outpatient facility when I'm off too, but because of COVID and wanting to be able to see my family and to see Ash, I probably will not be taking on an EPRN work during those 2 weeks so that I can be COVID free. And then I can come see you, because then it's going to be a really long time again.
Well, and the nice thing about that, too, is they've actually started doing weekly tests at my job for
good.
Those who would like to volunteer. So we could just coordinate it, and a couple of days beforehand I could, or even the week before, because I'm not going to see anybody either, because, like I said, we're going to be hermits starting pretty much now. We're
I
going to be
figure
hermits.
if I get tested the Monday after we're done for the 2 weeks, there's no way for me to get COVID if I'm literally not seeing anyone. And like when I go see my parents, we still wear masks in the house. Like, and my parents don't go anywhere. But
No.
And my partner works at home. I go to the grocery store, and even that, I'm starting to be like, I think I'm going to order again.
Well, that's what we're switching to. I probably have like one more like good grocery store trip in me, maybe sometime next week. And then anything that we need is going to just be like online ordering and like pick up at the store.
So maybe we'll do a quick live thing if we can actually get together the weekend after New Year's.
That would be super fun.
We could be live on the same camera with masks
Weird.
on. We miss you all. We miss you, friends.
Yes, if you didn't log into any of our Twitch feeds, that was the one big thing. We're like, we miss you guys.
So we may just have to randomly get on Twitch so we can hang out with all of you, because it's a good time. So what plans do we have for 2021? Well, they are significantly scaled back than they usually are. We did not apply to any additional guesting spots for 2021. So the only ones that we have for 2021 are the ones that were already booked.
Not trying to add anything more, especially, since we're still in the pandemic and there's still a chance that some of these might get postponed again.
Well, I don't want to deal with 5 or 6 cons that are going to get postponed again. It makes it really hard for planning your following year when that continues to happen. So I'm like, well, these cons we already have booked are nearby. That's not going to be a big deal if we get rolled back over. Like, I would have hated to book something like out in Texas and then be like, oh, you got to roll that over now. I'm like, well, great. Well, now
But what if I can't go to Texas next time?
Right, like now my spring break doesn't fall when your con is, or what have you. So, we didn't want to overextend ourselves with not knowing what is happening.
Well, and especially since we were switching to an every other week format anyway and cutting back so that we could have more time to do things like craft and put out quality content. We don't want to fill it all with going to shows.
We do also have to prepare to go to internationals in Spain, although it's not looking good right now. We'll be honest, friends.
I got all my fingers crossed.
There's been quite a few prelims that have already been canceled for 2021's finals. Spain's not looking good for us right now, but we do have to still get it done in the event that it happens.
Yep, still gotta prepare ourselves mentally for the worst, but go ahead and plan for the best, like it's gonna happen, and we're gonna go and we're gonna rock it, because that's the goal.
And if it doesn't, we're doing something else, because I'm done.
I mean, that's fair.
Because they will move us to 2022 if it doesn't happen. So it's not like we get thrown out, in the cold. We'll just get moved, but
yep.
I can't imagine.
We'll just cross off our sticky note.
Yes.
This is 2021 and change it to 2022.
I can't imagine still working on this project 3 years later.
Yeah.
I can't.
No, let's not.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, I think everybody else would be bored by it at that point too.
I mean, we can't promise it won't also be Moggy,
Well,
because we're a little obsessed with Moggy.
I can about guarantee that we're both going to be at the point where we're going to be like, maybe this specific skit with these specific characters is not a thing.
It's over. We're still going to finish. I mean, we still have to finish them anyway, because we're not going to know. I want to say last time we knew in May that they weren't going to move forward.
I think it was officially announced in June. And we had been given a heads up that it was a probability a couple weeks beforehand.
So we're still going to finish them to the point that they need to be redone. So the wigs need to be redone. We need to reduce some things on Kogyoku's dress. And then we're just going to hold that set for a while.
Yeah. Well, and we were originally planning on doing a photo shoot this fall at a local Japanese garden. But obviously that didn't happen because, we can't see each other or photographers for the most part.
Spain, as of right now, is still a thing, but we'll keep you guys updated as that changes, because so far they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, but you do have a couple that you're planning on just going to for funsies in the spring.
Ash is super busy this spring/early summer, so I'm going to be rolling somewhat solo for hopefully a couple of conventions, which we'll see how that goes.
Not like literally alone, just without me, which might as well be the same thing.
That's basically the same thing, isn't it? I mean, I'm all alone.
All by myself.
All by myself. I'm right here. Oh, Spam-a-Lot.
Is this where I call you a twat?
Yes.
Yep.
I am hoping to attend Anime St. Louis, as well as Colossal Con. I honestly think Anime St. Louis is far more likely than Colossal Con because it's a lot smaller in a large space. Colossal Con might happen, and I might not feel safe enough to go. We'll see.
Well, and the thing about St. Louis, too, is that even before this year's convention was supposed to happen, like when they knew they were probably going to have to cancel, they were already having open dialogue with the community saying, hey, if this happens, if we postpone it, or if this is still a problem next year, like what is acceptable as far as what's going to make you guys feel safe, but still encourage you to come out. So I think the fact that they've had that open dialogue this entire time is a really good sign that they're going to take all the recommended precautionary steps to make sure that the attendees and the guests are safe.
That is the other reason I'm looking at them, is that they have taken all those steps that I feel like, well, if I was going to go to a con, this one's probably going to be pretty safe. I'm also using St. Louis as my tentative goal date for Hinoto. So that would be April. I've cut out 3 triangles now.
Ooh. I put together one more cabinet.
Ooh. I did order her wig, so that's good. Sometimes I'm more motivated to do the wigs because I like doing them.
Yeah.
I have practiced some flat seams on and off here a little bit. I'm getting there. April still seems pretty reasonable for her, depending on what else goes down. So we'll see.
Sure. Well, and of course, I'm just like, oh, yeah, totally. But then I'm like, oh, wait, but I'm the sewist. So, of course, I would say that. And then I look at the wig that I need to put together, and I'm like, I should probably buy the rest of the stuff for that. But my dress I had ordered came in and was the wrong thing. So, allegedly, they're shipping me another one. And I'm like, do I just make one? And just call it a day? And just be like... Or do I, like, take the gamble that they actually sent me the right thing this time? Or do I just order fabric and see what happens?
Well, at this point, you probably could have made one in the amount of time they're taking to, like, send you the first one and then send you the right one.
Well, and it took them over a week to respond to me when I was like, hey, you sent me the wrong thing, and then sent them all the pictures. I'm like, this is not the right size, and this is not the right garment. And I really hope that this is not your definition of the word white, because... No. Still have a couple months before I wanted to actually wear that, so...
Yeah, hopefully the COVID will have chilled out and you can do your photo shoot. Because I had kind of hoped to get Hinoto done enough that I could have shot her in the snow. But hey, we could still have snow in April, so... I
was going to say, depending on how the winter goes. I mean, because if you look at the weather, like, right now, I think yesterday it was, like, 65. Right. Last week it was almost 80 in November, so... I just feel like anything can happen.
She'd be really pretty in the snow.
She would be really pretty in the snow. There's always next winter.
Well, we're on hold for photo shoots anyway.
Yeah.
Because I actually did a photo shoot a couple weekends ago with Infinity Spiral Photography, which was a great experience. Chris is awesome. And we took Beryl out to these. We have a outdoor theater that looks like an old Greek amphitheater. And so we took Beryl out there to take some shots, but we had a very narrow space that we could work in that wouldn't catch like a bunch of other random things because it's a public park.
Right.
So that was an adventure. And Chris was a trooper, and my helpers were a trooper.
Did Betsy come with you?
Yes, so Betsy Bo Peep came with and helped with her daughter, and then so did my partner. So I had lots of help. I will hopefully be posting those photos in the near future. Maybe I'll throw one in this post. They turned out pretty awesome. Got to use smoke bombs for the first time. We decided we're never shooting in the dark again. Because that was not fun.
But it turned out so good.
They turned out great, but we're not shooting in the dark again. And it was just a very unpredictable space. So it was hard for everybody, but we all trooped through it. And Chris and I were super excited. And then we were like, yeah, we can do something else another time. And then Iowa's rates went up to like 26%. And now we're both going, nope. No photos for a while, and I'm like, well, that's okay, because my cool stuff's not done yet anyway.
Do something another time, but you didn't specify when, so I mean, it can just wait.
Well, yeah, we're just gonna wait it out, but
it'll be great.
It did, like, for a brief period, like, spark my motivation to get something done. We'll see. I might play around with some at-home stuff and see what I can get to work in the meantime. And we had both talked about getting a DSLR as well.
Yes.
I have some photography background. It's been a long time. Ash and I had talked about getting one to share that we could try to do some shoots with and then figure out if either we wanted to hire someone to do the editing or how we wanted to play with that. Or if we just wanted to play
with editing and just kind of see what happens.
Well, and I've always shot in the fashion that I try to set up the environment so that I have as little editing as possible because I don't like editing on the computer.
Well, and I think that's usually the goal anyway.
It depends on the photographer because there's actually a lot of photographers that prefer to do most of their work in Photoshop and Lightroom.
No.
Where I just don't. Like, I prefer to do it by hand, essentially, which is how I am with all art. Like, I've never been big on digital. It's too disconnected for me. I've always been like, if I'm going to outline something, I'm going to physically outline it in ink, or I'm going to color it with markers and not on Photoshop or something, because that's
Sure.
I don't connect with the computer well when I'm doing art, so I don't want to do most of my work on the Photoshop. I'd rather do it in the camera.
Makes sense.
We'll see how that goes, but it's been a while. I'm sure it'll come back. 5 years of art school doesn't just disappear.
Well, and I think that's really interesting, too, because, like, on the flip side, like, since I started doing digital art, which, granted, it's been a while since I've done digital art, but I always loved playing in the more advanced programs. I wasn't a huge fan of GIMP, which is what they wanted us to use in college. I really, really loved Jask's Paint Shop program. I've had, like, 3 or 4 different renditions of it over the years. And I've tried a couple other ones like Corel. I could never bite the bullet to pay for Adobe, but I get why people like it.
So what you're saying is I take the photos and you will edit the photos.
I mean, maybe. We'll all learn from each other and then see what happens.
There we go. We can all rent a cabin in the woods and just take photos of each other and then edit them on laptops. What?
It sounds like murder.
Murder. In a cabin in the woods.
Yes. But we are officially going to be back for Planet FunCon next June. So that's exciting. Anime Iowa is still pending.
Always and forever.
Always and forever.
Always and forever pending.
Do you want to sign a contract?
I would like to sign a contract. Halo Ray, where's our contract? We'd really like to sign a contract. It'll get there. We love you, Anime Iowa. We just have to keep making that joke.
So that's June, July, August. We have been invited to come and do a panel at NerdFest, which is a new con for our area. We have committed to doing at least a panel. Maybe not necessarily anything more, because it's also the month before we're supposed to be going to Spain. So we need to make sure that we have plenty of time. And if we're doing any last minute rushing on anything, which hopefully not, but you never know because of Rona.
We also don't know what travel restrictions will look like if COVID is still a problem in the United States in August, and that's within that 6-week window. And we would hate to be like prevented from traveling.
Yes.
Because we went to an event or something of that nature. So we're just erring on the side of caution, but we have told them if, things look good or for some reason Spain's not happening, then we would consider being able to do more for them. But we're just trying to be realistic and not overpromise because...
And a responsible adult.
Yes, responsibility.
October, we are planning on being back at Anime Fusion in the Twin Cities area, so that's exciting.
I do miss Fusion. It will be nice to be back. So in the meantime, we're hoping to finish up Magi. Maybe I'll finish Hinoto. We'll see what happens.
It's a good plan.
We have to do Ninja Shadow.
Yes.
Because we have to bring a second set of costumes with us to ICL.
They were next on our list.
Yeah, we want something comfortable but nice to look at, and they just seem to be our best option.
Yes, I enjoy them tremendously, and I can't wait.
So we have to get Ninja Shadow down, and then we're kind of looking at also possibly doing, later in the year, Sunset Dragon's Oogie Boogie with a Christmas Town Sora, because that would be fun.
Yep, from Kingdom Hearts. It'll be a good time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm going to make Oogie Boogie either way, because I just really want that.
That's because Oogie Boogie is a fun character.
I know. So, another
know.
villain? Please, thanks.
Weird. With sass.
What's that?
I know.
Another villain?
Yep, another villain with sass.
Elle never makes villains. Or villains
Nope.
with sass. Ever. Might as well be my new, MO at this point.
Sassy villains?
Sassy villains, yeah.
I mean, it's like half of your MO. So.
It is. It is. Because the other half is my young men that are full of themselves.
Well,
Sometimes they cross over. So what is gonna happen in the meantime as we are on a hiatus? Subscribe so you don't miss any bonus episodes. You can pretty much subscribe anywhere you get podcasts.
Also consider subscribing to our Twitch channel so that you don't miss any of our extra fun shenanigans that we happen to plan out.
Also consider subscribing to YouTube, as we are currently looking into what the process would look like to also move the episodes onto YouTube, since we've had pretty extensive requests for wanting them to be on YouTube as opposed to a standard podcast application. If you go and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Lavi Cosplay, the episodes may slowly start to appear. Slowly, because that's going to take me forever to transition 32 episodes into MP4s.
We also want to make sure that whenever we make the eventual transition over to YouTube, that closed captioning is accurate, or as accurate as it can be for this type of scenario, for those who are going to be reading what's going on as opposed to listening directly to the audio.
So far, their closed captioning's actually been pretty good on the Twitch shows that we've uploaded to YouTube. So I have high hopes for their capabilities.
Yeah, I would imagine only just a little bit of editing, or possibly identifying speakers. And maybe when we're talking over each other, there might happen to be just a little bit, but we try not to do that too much. And don't forget to follow us on our other social media at Lobby Cosplay or Podcast SCS to keep up with other shenanigans that are currently going on. Any con appearances that may or may not be confirmed, anything that might have been rescheduled, bonus episodes pop up. We'll be sure to throw info about any upcoming Twitches if we happen to plan them out that far in advance, if they're not super spur of the moment, as well as just kind of what's going on with the podcast and what we expect to happen more so in season 2 as we get closer.
We would like to thank all of you, our friends, for joining us on this adventure. We just kind of started this back in February as something fun that we wanted to do to allow us to reach more people when we were getting so many requests to come to different conventions. And it's just kind of snowballed into its own little community. And we love hearing all the different things that you've learned and how much joy and fun that this podcast has brought all of you. We read every message and it warms our hearts when we get them. And we never thought, even in this short period of time, that we would have the overwhelmingly positive response that we have gotten for this podcast.
Yeah, you cannot even imagine like how much we love and appreciate your support. Like, you guys are amazing. And I don't think that we could tell you that possibly enough, just how awesome you all are.
So we hope that you stick with us through our break and that you will join us again when season 2 starts back up.
Yep. So again, I'm Ash.
I'm Elle.
We are Lavi Cosplay.
And this is Shit Cosplayers Say.
You've been listening to Shit Cosplayers Say, an LVC production. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast SCS. Our website is lavicosplay.com. Have a fun, crazy con or cosplay-related story, absurd cosplay question, or just something in general to share with us? Email us at podcastscs@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should.